Attention on deck!
Hi everybody, Army P here for eXplorminate.net. Welcome back to our preview of Stellaris with the DLC Leviathans. Now, from our last video, I was kind of showing off some of the different story-driven aspects of the game. We ran into one where we were dealing with an offshoot of our own civilization called the Throne of Gods. I was able to take care of them off camera. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage of it, but I'll let you know that we did the first beginning phases of it. I think there was about 6 parts to the entire quest line together, and it was very satisfying by the end. I know I didn't catch it on camera. It's a bit of a shame. But that being said, I don't want to take away all of the surprises that could be happening in your game, so at least showing off that they're really interesting, and then you'll have to take my word for it that it was actually a satisfying ending with something that was definitely worth it, especially in the first phase of this 4X game that I'm playing right now. Now, I kind of started off this video because I've entered into what can be considered like the middle phase. Most of the colonizable planets that are in and around me have been taken care of. I've made a lot more contacts with alien AI, and I just ran into this gentleman. This is a Curator Sigma Enclave. And he says, "Greetings, Star Travelers, we are the Curators. Our ancient order was established eons ago by various galactic powers in ascendancy at the time. We are dedicated towards the preservation of all knowledge in the effort to safeguard the galaxy from descending into another dark age with mass extinction and barbarism. We failed. Few of us remain today, but no less committed to our sacred mission that our predecessors were. We are willing to share some of our knowledge with you, for a price." Well, quite interesting. I want to say well met to you. So this is kind of an interesting little event. It's for, basically, we've met a whole bunch of ancient knowledge keepers called the Curators, or the Enclave. Now, they did mention that I'm able to purchase something from them in terms of some type of knowledge. So let's see where they are. First off, I want to see where they are. Oh, I think... Oh, are they at the black hole, or are they up here? I'm kind of curious where they're located. Interesting that they would tell me that because I think I got in contact with them at the Zorakian black hole here, but I'm not too sure where they're located. No matter, let's just see what they actually have to offer. So we'll open up the diplomacy screen, and I'll kind of quickly show off what they got. So we're possessing procuring, or we are interested in procuring new star charts. Can you aid us in our research? Can you tell us about the mysteries of the universe, or can we recruit one of your scientists? Oh, we gotta. This is interesting because it says here that I can't do this unless my opinion of them is plus 50, or we have a diplomatic bonus or opinion of 50. So how much would it be for new star charts, I wonder? 5 stars for 500. Wow, credits. These guys were not, I mean, they may have some good stuff, but they are not cheap, I'll tell you right now. How about aiding us in research? We'd like to purchase this service. It would be plus 20 to our opinion. We get a physics output of 15 right across the board, and that would be for 120 months, 10 years. Wow, that's pretty good. And mysteries of the universe, what else do you have to offer? There are exceedingly powerful entities lurking within certain star systems of our galaxy. At a great cost to both lives and resources, Curator agents have painstakingly gathered knowledge that should make these beings a lot easier to deal with when next time you encounter them. Oh, okay. Doesn't tell us much more besides that. Okay, it's interesting. Now, unfortunately, at this stage of the game, I don't have that kind of energy credits to spare around. This would be a good time, kind of just to segue where we're at right now. You can kind of see that my 2 allies, which are the Sovereign Hanak colonies and the Jijel Stellar Policy, or Potly, they are now my allies. Or I shouldn't say allies, we're very close. We have non-aggression pacts with them and defensive pacts. We've also encountered, of course, I think they were here last time, the Pyra Jukal. We've also found these guys, United Light Rate Worlds, and several other ones just northwest of my location, the Jahima Dominion, Consolidated Thydran Sons and the Hydari Coalition. We don't have any bad like matchups necessarily, besides the one directly to my south. These guys here, unfortunately, the Jukla, do not like me. We have been throwing insults at each other for the better part of a decade, and our borders are getting dangerously close to being you know, to having some even more border fiction between the two of us. I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of show off a little bit of the expansion planner, because that's something that we haven't really had a chance to use, because unfortunately the amount of habitable worlds that I have found is significantly less than it is in the base game. So I'm going to pop up the expansion planner, and what I didn't realize at the time, and now that I do, having played with it a little bit, it'll show us the worlds that we can colonize at a rate of 60% habitability. I can get that down all the way to 0, and you can see all the different worlds and how much it would cost in terms of our influence to colonize these. Now, of course, it has to be the influence cost has to do with the distance away from your home planet. So you can see a lot of the ones that have either 20 or 15 habitability cost significantly less, because of course they're right next to me, but I haven't bothered to even do anything about it because the habitability is so low. So 60% is pretty much the base minimum for habitability, and you see that I've got two different ones here. So what I can actually do from this expansion planner is, let's say I want to open up this one in particular. I've got two spaceports that are currently functioning, so I can say, okay, I want to colonize this one. I pick on the world, I hit colonize, and it'll start building it for me and automatically doing it. So I don't actually have to go through the process of building a colonization ship, you know, paying attention to when that's completed, having, you know, driving it to this new world that I want, and then colonizing it. I can do it all through this here. Unfortunately, you can see here from my influence, I don't actually have that ability just yet because of my cost. I could probably do it with the continental world for this one here, but it's oh, it says planet is inside of someone else's border, so I couldn't even bother to do it. But that being said, you can see as we started to get into later parts of the mid-game or late game, that could be a huge advantage, especially when it comes to keeping track of everything. Now, that being said, oh, there was also one other thing I wanted to show you, and I don't know if I'll be able to. This star here, Bathar. Now, I already showed from one of the previous videos, I had an encounter with some space pirates. I was able to clean them up. In my little discovery of this area, I ran into a massive fleet of pirates. They have, I believe, one battleship, a couple cruisers, and then a whole whack of different corvettes. And they're of unknown design. Like, I haven't seen these kinds of ships before, ever. So it was really interesting to see that. Now, they haven't attacked me, but I know that they're there. I know that the battleship's military power is around 5,500, so it's a beast. So I won't be able to take them until much, much later. Okay. Now as we continue on, you can kind of see where my planet is. I have 5 planets that are currently on the go, and I have one frontier outpost just kind of wrapping up. I really wanted this +9 minerals per turn, so I've got that going. In terms of my diplomacy, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to establish a federation. If you look, I believe I'm still researching it. In 4 more months, I'll be able to establish a federation, and I'm actually really kind of curious if I'll be able to easily do it with my two spacefaring allies. This handsome devil here, the Hanak colonies. We know here that we've got a good buildup of trust, and we've got a good opinion, and the same with the gel. We've got them, and we're in very good standing with both of them. So I'm kind of hoping that once I can get this established federation researched, that we could become a federation and go from there. Like, everything's good to go. I've got quite a bit of extra credit, so I think what I'll end up doing is clearing out some of these tile blockers, upgrade some of my different infrastructure now that I've got the money. Why not? And looks like we're in pretty good shape otherwise. Going to build a hydroponic farm here, I believe. Yeah, I'll take the cost. So yeah, that's my hope, is that we'll be able to establish a federation. That's kind of always the indication of you're starting the mid-game point. In terms of going out and scouting, you can see here that I am playing on a tiny map, and so I haven't had a chance to encounter too many other alien races, but I've taken out a couple of my corvettes, and we're just plodding along. Now, I did say when starting up this game that I wanted the maximum amount of fallen empires to be 2. And I was really hoping that we would have at least one more, because this particular fallen empire hasn't done anything. He's just sat here and been brooding and isolationist, as they always are, but I haven't had a chance to see any type of awakened ship. So I'm kind of hoping that will come to pass, and we'll be able to show that, especially on screen. Just getting my... And another tech that I was kind of interested to show it off is the auto explore for the science vessel. Unfortunately, again, I haven't seen that tech, but I am pretty early in the mid phase. Looks like we've got another contact, so we'll might as well get that going. Only have to do 2 months. You'll notice here it says finishes in 2 months, because I'm producing so much of my social research is going at a pretty good rate right now. So far, I've been playing this on one heck of a marathon mode, and I'm enjoying the subtle differences. Unfortunately, because of the nature of Leviathans, it really focuses on mid-game, so the changes that I've seen in terms of the beginning of the game are noticeable for sure, especially if you play this game significantly. But that being said, it's not overwhelming. I enjoy the different things that you can do to set up your own galaxy. I like the changes in combat, especially the fluidity of it. You'll notice that when you start to get into larger battles, is that they tend to spread all over the sector, especially when the smaller ships like the corvettes are engaging each other, which is interesting, because of course you can't control it, and then it might aggro either stations or defensive stations, or even other fleets. So it's been really interesting, to say the least. And I've gone through at least 2 different story chains right off the beginning that have are really interesting, because the one especially about Thor, what was it, was it Throne of God? I think that was what it was called, the offshoot of my lovely little star race, Yalians. They made you use a lot of different dynamics to finish the quest. I don't want to spoil anything, because it actually really was kind of cool towards the end, and the bonus that I got was definitely worth it. But I don't want to spoil anything, because it was a lot of fun to kind of play out. But it made you do more than just send a science vessel there. Simply just plug in and start researching and then pop out a reward. It actually kind of forced you to do certain things. Okay, so communications established. You can see here I'm getting influence gain. It's a bonus for every time that you divert some of your and sometimes when you divert some of your society research output towards either, investigating for communications establishments. I've noticed that some of the events that happen in the field that you'll normally sometimes in special circumstances are now given to your science vessel, and others are something that you have to develop and divert your society research or whatever research that is applicable, right? And we're just going to turn the community. So it's definitely interesting, and I'm glad that it plays out like that, because it feels a little bit more fluid. Because a lot of times I would not research any of the different spacefaring aliens at the beginning of a game, because it would take away from my society research, which of course gives me my first colony ship. Now I'm a little less. It's a little less restrictive that way. Improved spaceport. Yeah, I haven't had it done. That's a no-brainer. I have no ability to build destroyers yet. Okay, who do we got here? Oh, Curator Lambada Enclave. First contact. Well met, explorers. You're speaking to the Curator Lambada Enclave. Perhaps you're already familiar with the tenets of our ancient order. Like our esteemed colleagues from other Curator Enclaves, we are willing to trade, provided that you have you can meet our rates. Very well. Curious where I'm contacting these guys though. They're not showing up. It must be just a single planet or something. I don't know. I definitely want to find their home base, because I think if I zoom in on him, it must be a planet somewhere. Either way, I'll survey it a little bit later and see if I can't get my hands on it. So, okay, let's see what kind of things that this Lambada Enclave has. Okay, we're interested in procuring new star charts. Yeah, it looks like he's pretty much got the exact same price, and I can't afford that. Aid research, can you tell us about the mysteries? Tell us something that we don't know for 300 or something else. Well, tell me something that I don't know. We have marked a star system in your situation log. Oh, wow, cool. Okay, so he's giving me kind of something to fall back on. Let's check out our situation log and see what this curator is offering us here. Cost me 300 energy. Of course, at this stage of the game, I'm only at +5 per turn, so that was a bit of an investment. On the mineral side, I'm doing much better. I'm at 107 per turn. Mysteries of the Universe, point of interest. Track that on my map. Oh, interesting. Let's divert this lovely little Corvette to this point of interest and see what happens. Oh, what's going on here? Where did the ancient mining drones come from? Oh, I don't think he was fully in the sector just quite yet. Alright. Let's see what this point of interest that the curators have been providing us. It's definitely a welcome distraction, because you can tell at this stage of the game, like I said, I've colonized almost everything that I can in terms of my habitability. I'm about to form a federation, but there's been no war that's broken out. Just minor conflicts that I've had with either spacefaring pirates, something, an offshoot that's happened in a quest line, or just mopping up alien vessels and space stations. Aside from that, I haven't really had any big engagements. And if there was ever going to be a war, it would be this lovely fellow with the purple eyes and nice feathers, but obviously he's pretty timid, because directly to his west, these two gentlemen here are, we're all in good standing. Oh wow, look at this. Just when you thought the fun was going to get even more funner. Is that even a word? Funner, the funnest. Here it comes. The Ether Drake Encounter. A creature observed in the Ragnov system is unlike anything the Fourth Armada has previously encountered. This highly aggressive, with destructive capabilities to match. It guards a planetoid that initial scans indicate is exceptionally resource rich. Oh wow, he's a... Oh, look at him. We don't even know how powerful he is. It's his military power, giant red skull. Look at this guy. That is a cool art asset. I like the way that this thing looks. Oh, and I like the bloom too that's coming off that sun. Now if that's not a bad ass pick, I don't know what is. Really, now let's kind of see what these are guarding here. He must be guarding one of these planets that just is probably teeming with loveliness. They're all barren. I wouldn't be able to inhabit them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just see how fast this dragon can take care of us. Just for... Oh, I'm already engaged. Whoa! Thank gosh, my evasion's good. That is a big ball of lightning he's shooting out. Wow. Okay, special project. Communications established, and look who it is! It's the Vollard Kingdom! I made these guys in my previous game, if you remember from the very first video that I made. This is, I tried out the super cutesy giant butterflies, if I remember correctly. They're xenophile and spiritualists, which I think is pretty close to... Is that not what we have? I think that's our ethics as well. So we're probably going to be best friends with these guys. Now, he didn't even hit me. See, this is a tribute... Oh, that was it. Nope. One more blast and that was it. So we have seen the Drake space dragon, and whatever he's guarding is pretty darn good. Now I have a fleet of 774. And I don't think I'd even be able to make a dent into that guy. So we're just going to top up a little bit here. I need my improved spaceship. Just gonna get a few more corvettes going. Mostly just for scouting at this time. And I'm gonna continue on. I want to see if I can birth a Federation while I'm here and see some of the different mechanics there, because I know that they've eliminated alliances, but they haven't done anything with Federation, or they've changed the Federation to kind of complement with the loss of the alliance. Okay, so we've got some more rivalries occurring. Nothing I'm too concerned about. Okay. Definitely enjoying my time here with Leviathans. You can definitely tell they are really trying to smooth out that mid-game with a lot of different things to do. I can say for a fact that I played a game on 1.2 right before this patch launched, and you can definitely feel that moment when you get out of the exploration phase and you start on the expansion phase, and it just comes to a little bit of a drag for a period of time where you're just kind of, you know, doing a lot of maintenance in your own sectors and finding your kind of self wondering what you're going to do next. I can honestly say in the game that I've been playing now, I have not really had a lot of moments where I haven't had something that needs my attention or should be, you know, completed. Either it's cleaning out my space or some type of story outcome, encountering different like the curators. I mean, encountering two was kind of interesting. It makes me want to save up my energy for something other than when moving my fleets, and then my, you know, my value goes into the negative. Okay, so without further ado, we have formed a federation. I'm going to increase my borders, I believe. What do I got? Centralized command. I don't really need that. I already have a pretty low growth time. I want my borders to be a bit bigger because I've got ones that are planets that are just outside of my borders that I wouldn't mind mopping up. Alright, and let's see what we can do here. Let's just see if we can form a federation, because I actually don't think I have this. Oh, I'm not playing an Iron Man. Oh, I was going to say, one of the achievements that I don't have is form a federation on Iron Man. I deliberately didn't pick Iron Man because I wasn't too sure if, just from running the risk that of a possible catastrophic bug or something like that. Although it's been nothing but smooth sailing thus far. Okay, what do we got? Invite to a federation. Says no, he's not interested. We have differing war philosophies. I'm guessing because he's an individualist. I'm kind of curious what his is. Let's see if I can form a federation with these sovereign Halak colonies. Invite to a federation. Oh, we have different war philosophies. I wonder what my philosophy in war is. I believe it's unrestricted. No, that's just getting used to this new UI. I'll have to air polities and yeah. So I have unrestricted. Might play around with that and see if I can't get them to decide on being on a federation. I think I don't want to go full defensive because that is frustrating. That's frustrating when you go full defensive, because unfortunately there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do. And I know that there's been some weird behaviors upon the AI too, where you will, if you had to only defensive war, you could literally take over a planet while being on a defensive war, and then everybody ends up hating you even though you've taken the most passive stance on war. Oh, interesting. A Federation invitation. So the Hanak colonies and the Tijeli Stellar Potley, excuse me, I've joined a federation. I want in on that. Oh, something's gone up. Looks like a Federation Association offer. Oh, okay, this is really interesting. Okay, so I'm going down. I'm really caring about that. Yeah, we just talked about that. What's going on here? Oh, it's probably my corvettes being built. Okay, so the sovereign Hanak colonies. The auspicious ante does not cooperate with members. We would like to send an offer of association status with the Yalan Kingdom. I agree. Okay, so how this is going to work, and this is what takes over for alliances, is, if I'll just pull up my diplomacy screen, I am now on, they're part of the Tijel Stellar Potley, so the auspicious entente. Now, I am being considered for that. So, if I remember correctly, I will, if I'll just go here to this baseline, I got a trust of 100 because I'm now being considered for Federation status. So if I maintain good standing with them, this is kind of like the idea of being in a dual declaration of war or something to that effect. It's just another mechanic to increase your trust. So if you're you just saw with me trying to build the Federation right from the ground up, and they weren't going to take my offer because they have a different war philosophy, like of minus 50 points, right? So how would I make up that point? In the past, it would just be a mass amount of bribing, of literally bribing your way in to get your opinion just high enough to get in the Federation and then deal with it later, let it go down naturally over time. But now, because I'm part of the Federation Associate, I can increase my standing with them. And I'm pretty sure at 100, they might ask. I might be able to ask them again. So you see, my acceptance has already gone down to 22, but once it starts to fill up over time, I should be able to do it. So the birth of the Federation, not the name I would have personally chosen, but hey, at least it's keeping it interesting. Okay, everybody, so this is kind of where I'm standing right now in the mid-game of my Stellaris 1.3 with the DLC Leviathans. Showed off a bit of the curators. Unfortunately, with my current balance of energy credits, I wasn't able to buy much, but the location of a giant Drake space dragon who's guarding a whole bunch of goodies is right here on the completely easternmost point of the map. Haven't seen much of our lovely yet quiet oh man, I don't know about those guys sometimes. They really frighten me. But anyway, the Fallen Empire has not done anything in terms of that, and I'm continuing on trying to find new worlds. A side note, I always like it when one of the races that I've ended up constructed and playing a game with pop up. So you can see right here, he's already plus 50 with me because we share almost every one of the same every one of the same philosophies. I think I literally my space stars are pretty much based off of my space pirates or my space butterflies. So that being said, that's where we're going to end this video. We're going to continue on with the mid-game, kind of showing off some of the different surprises that occur mid-game, especially with the story quests and the different factions that you can beat. I'm hoping that to forward this game on probably, maybe other 10, 15 years before I do the next video, just to anytime something really interesting comes up, I'll definitely record it. But I'm hoping that a larger picture will kind of play out, or fingers crossed I'll be able to show you guys one of the Fallen Empire's awakening, because that's one of the things I'm most excited for. This has been ArmyP for eXplorminate.net. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.